So we used to live in a world where every single person got a pension, pretty much. This is the world where people went to work for the same company. When they were done, the company gave them a pension for the rest of their life. But now we live in a world where less than 15% of workers have a pension. But if you're one of those 15%, like a lot of teachers and nurses, it's important to understand how they work. Find out more right after this. Welcome to this week's Money Health Conversation. This is Derek Hagan, Certified Financial Planner, Chartered Financial Analyst. Each week I talk about a new issue in personal finance, usually incorporating behavioral finance or financial psychology, and I use everyday items around my office to help demonstrate the idea. You can learn more at moneyhealth.blog. This week we're going to talk about pensions. So pensions are a retirement system where you pay money while you're working for a company. Usually the company matches it, and that money goes into a big pot. And then when you retire, you get a stream of income for the rest of your life. Now, a pension, they call it, the jargon here is defined benefit plan, because the benefit to you is defined, usually by a formula. So I'm going to pay you X dollars for the rest of your life. More and more companies are offering defined contribution plans. That is where we define the contribution. If you pay 5%, I'll also pay 5%. If you pay 6%, I'll also pay you 3% into your plan. The benefit to you depends on what the markets do, and that's not the company's problem. How are those payments defined? It depends on the options you take. So in the normal world, just kind of the plain vanilla option, you're paying money every single paycheck. And you notice I love to use chips, and I love to use chips because they so easily represent money. So you pay your money every week, every 2 weeks, every month, or whatever. And then at the end, you get money every month for the rest of your life. That's the plain vanilla option. And let's say it's $1,000 a month. They say, thanks for working for us. You've contributed all this money. We've contributed all this money. Now we're going to give you $1,000 for the rest of your life. Now, there are options available. So there's the case, let's say for a second that I have a pension and I'm older than my wife. Since I'm a male and she's a female, I have a lower life expectancy. She's a lot more healthy person than I am, and her family history is a lot longer than mine. So based on those four factors, it's almost a sure thing that I will die before her. So what does that mean? That means that if we're in a situation where I got the pension and she doesn't have a pension, and I take the option that has the payments until I die, and she's going to live longer than I am, that means that income stream gets shut off. It gets killed as soon as I die. It's probably not the best situation. So what do we do instead? You can take a second to die option. So what that means is that now the payments are going to be coming in, not for just my life, but until she dies, which means that those payments are going to go for 10 or 15 or 20 years longer than they would have before. There's a cost to that. So instead of getting $1,000 a month, maybe we only get $950 or $900 a month. And the actual amounts, by how much they dwindle down, these are determined by what are called actuaries. For purposes of this video, actuary means people who sit in the math machine and they do nothing but calculus all day long. And from their perspective, they don't really care which option you pick. Because if you live to average life expectancy, it doesn't matter, it all works out to the same. And they don't really care about you specifically because they got a whole group of people. So some people will live longer and some people will live not as long. And that's going to average out. And all those averages and stuff, that's done by very specific equations. But those dollar amounts are set so that they don't care which option you pick. But certainly think about first to die, second to die. Because if you're going to die sooner than your spouse, you probably want your spouse to have some kind of income as well. Now there are situations, and this is actually the case for me and my wife. My wife has a pension, I don't. But remember, all those four things. She's younger than me. She's got a longer family history. She's healthier than I am. And she's a woman, so she has a lot higher life expectancy. So in that case, it makes sense to take the pension option on her life only because she's going to live longer anyways. So there's a lot of different options available. All those options are set by those guys doing calculus for a living so that they don't actually care because they're looking at the masses. They're looking at the whole group of people. But you are not a whole group of people. So you have to sit down and figure out your situation. What's likely to happen? If the most likely scenario doesn't happen, how will you feel about it? How will your spouse feel about it? How will your children feel about it? So there's nothing wrong with taking a smaller monthly paycheck if that payment's going to go for 10 or 15 or 20 years longer. That's still a good deal. Figuring out what's right for your situation, that's good money health. Thanks again for being with me today. If you liked what you've seen, click like. And if you like what I'm doing here, please consider subscribing. If you know anybody who's got a pension, especially if they're coming upon making that pension decision, please feel free to share this with them. You can learn more at moneyhealth.blog, and that's where you can join the Money Health community. Money Health is supported in part by micro donations on Patreon. If you'd like to help keep Money Health ad-free, you can pledge your support over at patreon.com/moneyhealth. And if you'd like help guiding you through the world of personal finance with advice tailored to your specific situation, I can help you through Hagen Financial. You can learn more there at hagenfinance.com. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time.